opened a tiny circular silver compact mirror, trying to see my current cosmetic situation a little clearer. The vibrant carmine pigment has noticeably begun to wane, leaving an uneven, highly unattractive waxy stain. I dab my mouth with a remarkably thin textured tissue, attempting to resolve this highly frustrating vanity issue. The glamorous crimson outline is severely blurred and messy, making my facial presentation look incredibly unimpressive.
I noticed the rosy smudge transferred directly onto my collar, a highly persistent residue that no amount of soap will alter. The waxy substance clings stubbornly to the woven fabric, a visible consequence of an interaction that was highly tragic. The glossy finish you applied earlier has entirely disappeared, exactly as my highly observant, cynical minded feared. The cosmetic layer failed to withstand the evening's friction, exposing the underlying truth beneath the glamorous fiction. The rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness. Wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout, the artificial confidence has completely run out. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudged reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. The matte foundation begins to heavily flake and separate as the late night hours continue to drastically escalate. I hand you a moist and towelette to cleanse your cheek. Your cosmetic barrier is looking incredibly, terribly weak. The rosy tint is heavily compromised by the perspiration, a highly unflattering, physically messy manifestation. You reapply the coloring, but the contour line is crooked, the most unkempt and disheveled that you have ever looked.
I twist the plastic tube to elevate the colored wax cylinder, feeling like a highly exhausted, unglamorous pretender. The shade is significantly lighter than the original application, a deeply disappointing, highly frustrating visual revelation.
My lip liner is entirely
erased from the outer boundary. I am trapped completely inside the superficial laundry. The glamorous aesthetic has been entirely compromised, exactly as the harsh bathroom fluorescent lights surmise. The rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness. Wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout, the artificial confidence has completely run out. Oh, wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what the artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. Scrub the remaining pigment entirely away, accept the unvarnished reality of the day.
way. The artificial coloring provides zero protection, just a highly superficial, waxy deflection. Twist up, apply gloss, smear down, total loss, wipe clean, facing. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what the artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade. An aesthetic disguise was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. Close the case, wash the face, color gone, moving on. Gravitational pull of the moon dictates the water's pace, creating a remarkably tranquil, highly meditative space. Bioluminescent plankton begins to gently glow in the dark, leaving a mesmerizing, glowing, fluorescent blue mark. I walk completely barefoot along the incredibly soft shoreline, observing a natural oceanic phenomenon of perfect design. The tiny gentle ripples barely disturb the smooth sandy beach, providing a profound calmness that is comfortably within reach. The estuary waters mix peacefully with the salty sea, a completely tranquil environment exclusively for you and me. I collect smooth frosted sea glass scattered by the foam, finding a profound sense of comfort in this coastal home. The lunar phase is a beautifully perfect waxing crescent, making the entire oceanic atmosphere wonderfully pleasant. A highly soothing, gentle retreat of the shallow water, nature acting as a profoundly gentle, caring daughter. The ebb and flow occurring at a whisper's volume, a deeply peaceful oceanic nighttime costume. The liquid retreats and gracefully returns, extinguishing the anxiety that heavily burns. Drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide, nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy, embracing this wonderful coastal serenity. The gentle foam kisses the tips of our toes, washing away every single whirly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway, gently washing the complicated world away. The coastal hermit crabs scurry into their spiral shells, while the incredibly soft ocean current peacefully swells. I sit entirely still upon a large, smooth granite boulder, feeling the heavy burdens lifting entirely off my shoulder. The reflections of the stars dance upon the glassy surface, a profoundly beautiful, highly calming, aquatic purpose. The seaweed floats gently in the mesmerizing shallow pool. The entire ecosystem is wonderfully, dependably cool. The retreat Creating liquid leaves intricate patterns in the wet dirt, healing every single microscopic psychological hurt. I synchronize my breathing with the rhythm of the gentle wash, observing the tiny minnow swimming in the aquatic squash. The lunar gravity acts as a highly dependable silent guide, controlling the remarkably peaceful, wonderful melotide. We are lulled entirely into a state of profound relaxation, the most effective natural form of mental pacification. The ebb and flow occurring at a whisper's volume, a deeply peaceful oceanic nighttime costume. The liquid retreats and gracefully returns, extinguishing the anxiety that heavily burns. Drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide, nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy, embracing this wonderful coastal serenity. The gentle foam kisses the tips of our toes, washing away every single worldly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway, gently washing the complicated world away. Let the current softly pull your worries out to sea. Embrace the gentle liquid form of absolute tranquility. The ocean breathes exactly like a sleeping giant, making our rigid human minds incredibly compliant. Inhale deep, water sweep. Exhale slow, watch it go. Gentle wash, soft splash. Drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide, nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy, embracing this wonderful coastal serenity. The gentle foam kisses the tips of our toes, washing away every single worldly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway, gently washing the complicated world away. Ocean sleeps, water creeps, peaceful night, lunar light. Sitting behind the massive 72-channel mixing board, manipulating the frequencies of a highly distorted. I turn the rotary knobs to adjust the equalization, creating a highly deceptive auditory hallucination. The faders slide upwards to introduce the phantom track, a splice section of tape that we are playing completely back. I push the parameter of the reverb unit to the extreme, constructing an entirely artificial sonic dream.
I patch the cables directly into the analog synthesizer, acting as the ultimate deceptive studio supervisor. The snare drum is processed through a heavy phase shifter, transforming the percussion into a psychedelic drifter. We alter the pitch to create a highly disorienting effect, a sonic landscape that the listener would never expect. I mute the vocal channel to highlight the heavy bass line, a manipulative trick of our incredibly clever design. The dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track.
magnetic ribbon with a blade. Listening to the artificial world we made, trapped inside these dub illusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom.
The oscillation frequency rapidly begins to multiply, a highly synthetic trick that we proudly apply. I reverse the cymbal, crash the simulator, backward fall, bouncing the artificial sound waves off a non-existent wall.
The engineering booth is filled with tangled black wires, fueling these incredibly deceptive auditory fires. We compress the dynamic range until the signal is flat, a highly technical achievement that we marvel at.
The master tape degrades slightly with every single pass,
creating a sound as fragile as spun fiberglass. I isolate the hi-hat and bathe it in a chorus pedal, treating the audio signal like a malleable liquid metal. We manufacture a space that defies all physical laws, adding intentional distortion to cover up the flaws. The final mixdown is a masterpiece of total deception, a profoundly manipulative synthetic reception. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made, trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. Do not trust the sounds that you currently hear. The reality of this recording is nowhere near a phantom projection from the stereo speakers. We are the ultimate auditory seekers. New track, bring it back, add delay, fade away, pan left, audio theft. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing room. Cut the tape, false escape, power down, leave the sound. Hoisting the massive canvas, mainsail up the wooden mast, preparing the enormous vessel for a journey incredibly vast. The pelagic winds fill the fabric with a highly powerful gust, leaving the safe harbor in a cloud of maritime salty dust.
I stand confidently upon the starboard side of the deck,
searching the endless blue horizon for a sunken pirate wreck. The albatross glides beautifully alongside our wooden hull, a highly spectacular nautical voyage that is never dull.
Gripping the giant steering wheel with my calloused hands, navigating the coordinates toward undiscovered foreign lands. The compass points directly toward a highly treacherous reef, but the crew maintains a remarkably steadfast, brave belief. I adjust the rigging and carefully secure the thick rope, sailing forward with an enormous amount of adventurous hope. The maritime charts predict a highly favorable strong gale, providing the perfect momentum for this legendary tale.
Riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncing nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation.
The barnacles cling stubbornly to the submerged underbelly, while the chef prepares a highly traditional maritime jelly. I drop the massive iron anchor into the turquoise deep, allowing the exhausted, hard-working sailors to finally sleep. The dolphins breach spectacularly across the starboard bow, a majestic aquatic performance happening right here and now. We swap the wooden deck until the timber perfectly gleams, fulfilling our wildest, most adventurous seafaring dream.
Climbing the rope ladder entirely up to the tall crow's nest, putting my acrobatic maritime abilities to the ultimate test. I peer through the brass telescope to scout the distant shore, discovering a magnificent island entirely unexplored before. The salty spray constantly splashes against my smiling face, navigating the galleon into this beautifully secluded space. We secure the heavy moorings to the wooden harbor dock, arriving perfectly on time according to the captain's clock. Riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncing nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. Navigate the vessel wherever the lantern burns. The aquatic journey provides an absolute thrill, riding the aquatic roller coaster with incredible skill. Pull the line, weather good, feeling fine. Set the sail, catch the gale, dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. Drop anchor, empty tanker, journey ends with my friends. sorting through the massive pile of dirty laundry on the bed, discovering the exact evidence that I had always fiercely dreaded. A highly distinct, unfamiliar discoloration upon the neckline, proving that your weekend activities were completely out of line. The woven cotton fabric holds the undeniable dirty truth, exposing the secret infidelity of your reckless, foolish youth. I inspect the garment closely under the bright bedroom light, confirming my worst suspicions on this terrible, ruined night. I desperately try to formulate a believable, innocent excuse, while enduring this incredibly tense psychological abuse. Sweat forms heavily upon my highly panicked, guilty brow. I cannot talk my way out of this disastrous situation now. The button-down shirt was supposed to be thoroughly washed, but my deceptive, terrible plan has been entirely quashed. I stare completely silently at the patterned bedroom rug, feeling like a highly exposed, thoroughly cornered, helpless bugger. No amount of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread. Confronting the reality of this stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar. A visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room. A permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. I unbutton the cuffs with incredibly trembling, shaking hands, unable to meet your highly righteous, furious demand. The washing machine spins loudly in the adjacent utility hall, while my entire deceptive empire begins to completely fall. I offer a pathetic apology that sounds incredibly insincere, understanding that the end of our partnership is entirely near. The visual evidence is far too overwhelming to ever deny. I am caught completely inside my own terrible, selfish lie. I toss the ruined garment directly into the metal trash bin, refusing to accept the consequences of your terrible sin. The laundry basket overflows with the remnants of your deceit. A highly devastating, incredibly painful, romantic defeat. I demand that you pack your belongings and quickly depart, taking your terribly flawed, untrustworthy, deceptive heart. The discoloration remains a highly permanent, ugly scar, showing exactly how incredibly wicked you truly are. No amount of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread. Confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar. A visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room. A permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. The chemical solvents cannot remove the awful trace, erase the lying expression right off of your face. The fabric is ruined, the material is totally torn, a terrible catastrophe that leaves us deeply worn. Scrub hard, soap deep, lies told. Now weep, rinse out, loud shout. counterfeit dollar,
a visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal,
where every single deceptive explanation will fail.
The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume,
suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room.
a permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth,
Destroying the relationship like a fabric eating moth. Throw it out
in the doubt,
close the door,
nevermore.
Flipping open a tiny circular silver compact mirror, trying to see my current cosmetic situation a little clearer. The vibrant carmine pigment has noticeably begun to wane, leaving an uneven, highly unattractive, waxy stain. I dab my mouth with a remarkably thin textured tissue, attempting to resolve this highly frustrating vanity issue. The glamorous crimson outline is severely blurred and messy, making my facial presentation look incredibly unimpressive. I noticed the rosy smudge transferred directly onto my collar, a highly persistent residue that no amount of soap will alter. The waxy substance clings stubbornly to the woven fabric, a visible consequence of an interaction that was highly tragic. The glossy finish you applied earlier has entirely disappeared, exactly as my highly observant, cynical mind had feared. The cosmetic layer failed to withstand the evening's friction, exposing the underlying truth beneath the glamorous fiction. Oh, the rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness, wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout. The artificial confidence has completely run out. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudged reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peeled away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. The matte foundation begins to heavily flake and separate as the late night hours continue to drastically escalate. I hand you a moistened towelette to cleanse your cheek. Your cosmetic barrier is looking incredibly, terribly weak. The rosy tint is heavily compromised by the perspiration, a highly unflattering, physically messy manifestation. You reapply the coloring, but the contour line is crooked, the most unkempt and disheveled that you have ever looked. I twist the plastic tube to elevate the colored wax cylinder, feeling like a highly exhausted and glamorous pretender. The shade is significantly lighter than the original application. A deeply disappointing, highly frustrating visual revelation. My lip liner is entirely erased from the outer boundary. I am trapped completely inside this superficial laundry. The glamorous aesthetic has been entirely compromised, exactly as the harsh bathroom fluorescent lights surmise. The rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness. Wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout. The artificial confidence has completely run out. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. Scrub the remaining pigment entirely away, except the unvarnished reality of the day. The artificial coloring provides zero protection, just a highly superficial waxy deflection. Twist up, apply gloss, smear down, total loss. Wipe clean, face seen. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. Close the case, wash the face, color gone, moving on. Entering the lavishly decorated, incredibly opulent parlor, escaping entirely from the drab, monochromatic outdoor squalor. The heavy drapery blocking the windows is a deep burgundy, creating an atmosphere of highly exclusive aesthetic urgency. I sink deeply into the incredibly plush, tufted upholstery, surrounded by an astonishing collection of scarlet tapestry. The illumination is provided by a rosy, flattering chandelier, making every single patron look undeniably magnificent here.
My shoes sink entirely into the remarkably thick ruby carpet, the most extravagantly designed interior on the entire market. A waitress balances a silver tray of brightly colored grenadine, the most highly saturated visual environment I
have ever seen. I slide perfectly into the incredibly private circular leather booth, embracing this highly manufactured, deeply colorful truth.
The wallpaper features a velvety
Dark cherry damask pattern, a profoundly luxurious sanctuary comparable to the rings of Saturn. Immersed entirely in this cardinal hue, a completely flushed, magnificent view, basking in the profoundly rosy ambient glow, the most extravagant aesthetic we will ever know. Relaxing inside this magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consist in these scrounge. Everything is painted a spectacular blood red, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead, a deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic regal scarlet pigments, a beautifully crafted interior design figment.
The mahogany tables are polished to a highly reflective shine, while the patrons heavily consume their expensive vintage wine. I observe the incredibly rich ruby-tinted stained glass, watching the beautifully dressed, sophisticated clientele pass.
The ambient temperature is remarkably warm and inviting, perfectly complementing the deeply atmospheric ruby lighting.
A monochromatic masterpiece of absolute interior luxury,
a phenomenally expensive, highly curated sanctuary. My fingernails perfectly match the velvet cushions of the chair, a highly coordinated, deeply meticulous aesthetic affair. The bartender wipes the counter with a scarlet-colored rag, while a patron retrieves a lipstick from her expensive bag. We are utterly enveloped by this warm, undeniably rich tone, feeling like royalty sitting directly upon a comfortable throne. The aesthetic consistency is remarkably strict and severe. Absolutely no contrasting colors are ever permitted here. Immersed entirely in this cardinal hue, a completely flush, magnificent view, basking in the profoundly rosy ambient glow, the most extravagant aesthetic we will ever know. Relaxing inside this magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrounge. Everything is painted a spectacular blood red, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead, a deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic regal scarlet pigment, a beautifully crafted interior design figment. Close a heavy doors to the mundane gray street. This highly colorful immersion is wonderfully complete. Surrender to the profoundly plush, saturated environment, the ultimate aesthetic form of luxurious retirement. Red velvet, deep sink, ruby glass, fancy drink, scarlet glow, moving slow. Relaxing inside this magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrounge. Everything is painted a spectacular blood red, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead, a deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic regal scarlet pigment, a beautifully crafted interior design figment. Lights dim down, rich side of town, stay inside, nowhere to hide. discovering the exact evidence that I had always fiercely dread. A highly distinct, unfamiliar discoloration upon the neckline, proving that your weekend activities were completely out of line. The woven cotton fabric holds the undeniable dirty truth, exposing the secret infidelity of your reckless, foolish youth. I inspect the garment closely under the bright bedroom light, confirming my worst suspicions on this terrible, ruined night.
I desperately tried to formulate a believable, innocent excuse, while enduring this incredibly tense psychological abuse. Sweat forms heavily upon my highly panicked, guilty brow. I cannot talk my way out of this disastrous situation now. The button-down shirt was supposed to be thoroughly washed, but my deceptive, terrible plan has been entirely quashed. I stare completely silently at the patterned bedroom rug, feeling like a highly exposed, thoroughly cornered, helpless bug.
No amount of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread, confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar, a visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room, a permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth.
I unbutton the cuffs with incredibly trembling, shaking hands, unable to meet your highly righteous, furious demands. The washing machine spins loudly in the adjacent utility hall, while my entire deceptive empire begins to completely fall. I offer a pathetic apology that sounds incredibly insincere, understanding that the end of our partnership is entirely near. The visual evidence is far too overwhelming to ever deny. I'm caught completely inside my own terrible, selfish lie. I toss the ruined garment directly into the metal trash bin, refusing to accept the consequences of your terrible sin. The laundry basket overflows with the remnants of your deceit, a highly devastating, incredibly painful romantic defeat. I demand that you pack your belongings and quickly depart, taking your terribly flawed, untrustworthy, deceptive heart. The discoloration remains a highly permanent, ugly scar, showing exactly how incredibly wicked you truly are. No amounts of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread, confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar, a visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room, a permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. That leaves us deeply worn. Scrub hard, so deep,
Last hope,
now we
rinse out,
loud shout.
loud shout, confronting the reality of the stained car, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar, a visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single decision like eating moth. Throw it out in the dark, close the door, nevermore. Throw it out. My brightly plumed feathers are intentionally, permanently clipped, ensuring that my potential for flight is entirely, securely stripped. I am surrounded by incredibly expensive, shiny little trinkets, but my geographical perimeter is completely defined by limits.
The enclosure is securely fastened with a heavy diamond padlock.
I stare miserably at the remarkably ornate ticking grandfather clock,
Provided with gourmet seeds
upon a tiny, exquisite platinum platter. But my fundamental lack of liberty is the only thing that matters.
I polish the shiny vertical metallic bars until they perfectly gleam, maintaining this highly restrictive, completely luxurious dream. Observing the beautiful captive singing a remarkably sorrowful melody, a magnificent demonstration of highly expensive
Tragic acoustic tragedy. I ensure the water dispenser is filled with remarkably pure artisan spring, listening to the incredibly sad notes that the lovely captive sings. The architecture of this prison is undeniably, phenomenally stunning,
but it prevents any sort of escaping
or highly desperate running. Surrounded by an absolute incredible amount of wealth, sacrificing my genuine psychological independent health, denied the basic fundamental right to soar the sky, watching the beautiful free sparrows flutter quickly by, trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage. An ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison where the terrifying reality is finally painfully arisen, singing beautiful songs of absolute luxurious captivity, robbed of every single ounce of natural free activity. The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant geographical map.
I hang a beautiful crystal mirror inside the lavish enclosure, maintaining a wealthy captive's highly photogenic composure, a remarkably selfish desire to possess such an exquisite creature, highlighting every single delicate, highly attractive feature. Purchase price was an astronomically high,
Ridiculous sum,
ensuring that the desired freedom will absolutely never come. I drape a heavy velvet cloth over the top
when it gets dark,
denying the captive any glimpse of the sprawling
public park. I gaze longingly through the incredibly expensive, intricate lattice work, where the highly depressing, deeply isolating feelings continuously lurk. I desire the terrifying, unpredictable freedom of the open atmosphere, instead of the highly controlled, ridiculously safe environment here.
My vocalizations are praised by the wealthy,
visiting aristocracy,
but they fail to recognize this terrible,
confining hypocrisy. I will gladly trade this magnificent, shiny aurum perch for a completely dangerous, highly unscripted, wild search, surrounded by an absolute, incredible amount of wealth, sacrificing my genuine psychological independent health, denied the basic fun fundamental right to soar the sky, watching the beautiful free spirals flutter quickly by, trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage. An ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison where the terrifying reality has finally painfully arisen, singing beautiful songs of absolute luxurious captivity, robbed of every single ounce of natural free activity. The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant geographical map. Beautifully constructed, miserable ascendance. The shiny trap offers absolute safety, but removes the soul. A devastatingly high, incredibly painful psychological toll. A turnkey, not free. Shiner bar, look far. Clipped wing must sing. Trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage. An ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison where the terrifying reality is finally painfully arisen, singing beautiful songs of absolute luxurious captivity, robbed of every single ounce of natural free activity. The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant geographical map. Lock the door, fly no more. Beautiful song, something wrong. Plastered underground speakeasy ceiling, the massive lighting fixture, a highly dizzying feeling, pushed by the aggressive vibrations of the heavy band, creating a sweeping trajectory that I can barely understand. The illumination oscillates across the crowded, smoky floor, pushing the patches of darkness directly toward the heavy door. A metronomic sway that hypnotizes the entire gathered crowd, while the brass instruments play incredibly, overwhelmingly loud.
I observe the heavy brass pendulum executing its massive arc, plunging half of the room into a sudden temporary dark. The rhythmic oscillation perfectly matches the drummer's steady pace, sweeping back and forth across this underground secretive space. The chains creak loudly under the immense swinging gravitational weight, a mesmerizing physics experiment happening incredibly late. The trajectory is predictable but highly visually entrancing, providing the perfect strobing illumination for our romantic romancing. Back and forth the heavy fixture continuously flies, tricking our intoxicated, highly weary eyes. The syncopated movement dictates the shifting mood, a deeply hypnotic, constantly swinging attitude, caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows. The alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club, a kinetic aerial display of rhythmic grace, constantly altering the geometry of the space. The pendulum dictates the heavy musical swing, a profoundly
mesmerizing, rotating thing.
The kinetic energy is transferred directly into the musical groove, dictating exactly how the intoxicated patrons are allowed to move. I dodge the sweeping projection of the heavy iron frame, participating actively in this highly visual optical game. The velocity reaches its maximum directly at the lowest point, a fascinating mechanical feature of this illegal basement joint. The momentum carries the structure upward to the opposing peak, a highly dynamic environment where the visual contrasts speak.
The alternating brightness causes a heavy psychological trance, a highly unpredictable, constantly shifting, illuminated dance. I track the physical arc with my completely mesmerized stare, watching the heavy brass slice through the thick cigar-filled air. The gravitational pull forces the object perfectly back into line, a remarkably consistent, mathematically flawless physical design. We are entirely subjected to the whims of the swinging light, the most dynamic, visually chaotic elements of this Friday night. Back and forth the heavy fixture continuously flies, tricking our intoxicated, highly weary eyes. The syncopated movement dictates the shifting mood, a deeply hypnotic, constantly swinging attitude. Caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club, a kinetic aerial display of rhythmic grace, constantly altering the geometry of the space. The pendulum dictates the heavy musical swing, a profoundly mesmerizing, rotating thing. Trajectory of the electrical spark. Swing left, swing right, darkness falls, then the light, watch it move. Feel the groove caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club, a kinetic aerial display of rhythmic grace, constantly altering the geometry of the space. The pendulum dictates the heavy musical swing, a profoundly mesmerizing, rotating thing. Momentum slows, the shadow grows, fixture stops, the music drops. Listening to your incredibly raspy, unpolished the bone, a harsh, abrasive frequency that chills me to the bone. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks, a remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating barra despair. The syllables grind together like a rusty, unoiled gear, the most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear.
I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I
The harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand. A severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocals are incredibly frayed and totally torn. A highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind.
The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find.
Sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street.
A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feel.
The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick.
I order a dark coffee to soothe the terrible scraping ache. The only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness adds a highly dramatic, intimidating weight to every single opinion that I attempt to clearly state. A remarkably gruff phenomenon that I simply cannot fix. A highly deteriorated, incredibly rough bag of vocal tricks. There is a strange, highly unconventional charm to the croak, as if your entire existence is obscured by a heavy smoke. I listen to the remarkably textured sound, paper-like speech, a completely unrefined frequency that nobody can teach. The hoarseness conveys a highly authentic, lived-in pain, a remarkably unfiltered, entirely unpretentious vocal strain. You whisper a gruff compliment directly into my ear. The most incredibly rough, abrasive sentiment of the year. Their bones are incredibly frayed and totally torn. A highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind. The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find.
Sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feel. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. Across the entire local bar, embrace the terribly unpolished hoarse delivery. A remarkably authentic, highly textured, Conference has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating baritone despair. The syllables bind together like a rusty, unoiled gear. The most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear.
I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with the loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally
Diction dominating every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably auditory grind. The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find. Sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. I order a dark coffee to soothe the terrible scraping ache. The only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness has a dramatic, intimidating weight to every single indating that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has enjoyed decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating baritone despair. The syllables grind together like a rusty ink. Pushing my lips against the cold golden mouthpiece, hoping the subtle conversation will never cease. I exhale a delicately measured, remarkably gentle sigh, allowing the cylindrical tubing to softly multiply. The frequency of my incredibly intimate, unspoken thoughts, a covert auditory exchange that cannot be easily caught. The metallic alloy warms up from the friction of my breath, playing a beautifully hushed serenade right unto death.
Fingering the slick, lubricated valves with extreme precision, executing a highly calculated, incredibly quiet musical decision. I compress the airflow into a remarkably subtle low hum,
Waiting patiently for the gentle acoustic response.
The bell of the horn is
Entirely obstructed by a heavy mute, transforming the loud blare into something wonderfully astute. A secretive dial-up bypassing the human vocal cords, earning the most prestigious underground auditory awards. Keeping the dynamic volume incredibly restrained, a highly delicate melody that must be maintained. Speaking through the shiny metallic plumbing, listening to the remarkably soft exchange in these highly secretive brass whispers. A covert language between two musical drifters. The golden horn murmurs a remarkably quiet phrase, navigating through this intimate auditory maze, blowing softly into the intricately coiled pipe. A deeply seductive, sophisticated musical type. No actual syllables are required for this chat, a purely instrumental discussion, just like that.
I adjust the tune and slide by a mere millimeter, making the harmonic resonance incredibly sweeter. The saliva accumulates slowly inside the water key, the physical reality of this beautiful acoustic decree.
My diaphragm controls the incredibly slow release of air, a highly disciplined technique executed with utmost care. We trade four-bar phrases in a highly conversational style, maintaining this sultry muted interaction for a while.
The vibrato shakes gently at the very end of the note,
a beautiful sentiment that nobody ever officially wrote. I cut my left hand directly over the flared opening, controlling exactly how the metallic vibrations are ringing. A highly localized, incredibly private musical debate occurring remarkably late upon this specific date. The trumpet effectively replaces the need for my tongue, the softest, most delicate jazz standard ever sung, keeping the dynamic volume incredibly restrained. A highly delicate melody that must be maintained, speaking through the shiny metallic plumbing, listening to the remarkably soft exchange in these highly secretive brass whispers, a covert language between two musical drifters. The golden horn murmurs a remarkably quiet phrase, navigating through this intimate auditory maze, blowing softly into the intricately coiled pipe, a deeply seductive, sophisticated musical type. No actual syllables are required for this chat, a purely instrumental discussion, just like that. Just like that. The alloy vibrates with a remarkably sung, a beautiful demonstration. Let the metal communicate what the heart feels, a deeply resonant truth that the horn reveals. Breathe slow, keep it low, press the valve, let it out, softest tone, all alone, exchanging these highly secretive brass whispers, a covert language between two musical drifters. The golden horn murmurs a remarkably quiet phrase, navigating through this intimate auditory maze, blowing softly into the intricately coiled pipe, a deeply seductive, sophisticated musical type. No actual syllables are required for this chat, a purely instrumental discussion, just like that. And to the long song is sung, put it away in the play. The parched landscape is deeply cracked and severely broken. Not a single drop of moisture has been miraculously spoken. I walk across the massive, shifting golden sand dunes, singing these incredibly thirsty, nomadic, arid tunes. The solar radiation bakes the terracotta soil to a crisp, while the dry wind blows past with a terrifying lisp. My canteen has been completely empty for 3 entire days, wandering endlessly through this magnificent desert haze.
The vultures circle patiently above the barren canyon ridge, a massive geographical gap without a single wooden bridge. I strike the stretched animal skin of my tribal hand
mythical rain clouds to finally come. The drought has lasted for an unprecedented, terrible decade, leaving the entirely dehydrated ecosystem completely betrayed. I seek the elusive shade of a solitary prickly cactus plant, chanting a desperate, highly repetitive survivalist chant, thus swirling into a massive, blinding cloud. The silence of the wasteland is incredibly loud. No oasis exists in this desolate, empty terrain, just an absolute devastating lack of rain, pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prism, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. Deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment, without a doubt.
The riverbed is completely devoid of any flowing streams, just the skeletal remains of our former aquatic dreams. I shake the hollow gourd filled with dried, rattling seeds, ignoring my severe, highly critical biological needs. The scorpions scurry beneath the baking, jagged rocks, while the relentless equator sun continuously mocks our pathetic, desperate attempts to invoke the heavy storm, surviving the absolute harshest terrestrial norm.
The mirage shimmers deceptively on the vast horizon line, an optical trick of an incredibly cruel, malicious design. I tap my wooden walking stick against the petrified wood, understanding the severe consequences as I probably should. The percussion echoes weakly across the desolate flatlands, played entirely by my blistered, heavy, calloused hands. We march toward the distant, hazy, purple mountain peaks, a highly dangerous journey that takes several brutal weeks. Dust swirling into a massive, blinding cloud. The silence of the wasteland is incredibly loud. No oasis exists in this desolate, empty terrain, just an absolute, devastating lack of rain, pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prism, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. A deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment, without a doubt. We must accept these terribly harsh fates, strike the earth until it finally splits wide. Nowhere for the weary travelers to hide. Slap clay, dry day, no rain, much pain, walk far, follow star.